The unexpected chosen. The silver transport ship shuddered as it entered Zenithian atmosphere, its metal shell glowing hot against the pale violet sky. Hold steady. Captain Cooper barked into the comms as Aya Nakamura's fingers flew across the engineering console, desperately trying to stabilize the failing systems. Something's wrong with the gravitational compensators, Aya called back, her dark eyes narrowing at the flickering displays. This isn't normal turbulence. The ship lurched violently, sending tools scattering across the floor. We've been caught in some kind of tractor beam. Cooper shouted. Everyone brace for emergency protocols, but it was too late. The Earth expedition vessel, meant to establish diplomatic contact with the mysterious Zenithian Empire, was being pulled inexorably toward the surface of the alien planet. Below them stretched a landscape of crystalline towers and sweeping purple vegetation, beautiful and utterly foreign. When Aya regained consciousness, she was being dragged from the wreckage by figures in sleek, iridescent armor. Their faces remained hidden behind reflective visors, but their movements were too fluid, too precise to be human. Where are the others? She demanded, struggling against the grip on her arms. Captain Cooper? Kai? Where's the rest of my team? No answer came as they guided her firmly toward a hovering transport vessel. In the distance, she could see other crew members being similarly escorted, all appearing dazed but unharmed. The journey passed in tense silence as they soared over sprawling cities that glittered like jewels in the alien sunlight. Hours later, Aya found herself standing in an immense circular chamber lined with observers on tiered balconies above them all. Seated on a floating crystalline throne was a figure that made Aya's breath catch. The Zenithian queen's skin was a luminous purple, almost translucent, with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with inner light. Her eyes were large, entirely silver without pupil or iris, yet somehow conveying profound intelligence. The selection ceremony begins, announced a tall Zenithian with ceremonial markings covering half his face. I am High Counselor Thravik, and today our Queen Nalari selects her consort. As tradition demands, once each century Aya stood among a line of captives, mostly human, but with a few representatives of other spacefaring species. She realized with growing horror that they weren't diplomatic prisoners. They were candidates in some bizarre alien ritual, one by one. The captives were presented before the queen, who regarded each with cool detachment. When Aya's turn came, she lifted her chin defiantly. I am Chief Engineer Aya Nakamura of the Earth Science vessel Horizon. We came in peace, not to participate in whatever this is. The queen's silver eyes widened almost imperceptibly. Something flickered across her face. Surprise. Perhaps a recognition. I choose this one. Queen Nalari's voice rang through the chamber, melodic yet authoritative, the human female with fire in her spirit. A collective gasp rippled through the assembly. Thravik stepped forward, his expression hardening. My queen, this is unprecedented. The candidates have not been properly vetted. This human has not been prepared. Nevertheless, I have chosen. Nylari rose from her throne, the patterns on her skin pulsing brighter. Bring her to the bonding chamber. I haven't agreed to anything, Aya protested as guards moved toward her. You can't just... Refusal is not permitted, Thravik stated coldly. Once chosen, you must accept or face execution. Such is our way for 10,000 years. Then I refuse, Aya said firmly, causing another wave of shocked murmurs. I won't be forced into anything, even by a queen. Queen Nylari descended from her throne platform, approaching until she stood directly before Aya. For the first time, a smile curved her purple lips. Fascinating, you are exactly as I foresaw. She turned to address the stunned assembly. The human will not be executed. She requires time to understand our ways. Take her to the east wing of the palace instead. As Aya was led away, she caught one last glimpse of the queen. Those silver eyes held something unexpected, not anger or imperial arrogance, but something that looked almost like hope. Palace of Whispers. Morning light filtered through crystalline walls, casting rainbow patterns across Aya's chamber. She had spent 3 restless nights in this beautiful prison, pacing and plotting escape. The door slid open without warning, revealing a human woman with streaks of silver in her dark hair. Good morning, the newcomer said with a slight bow. I'm Dr. Chen, xenolinguist and cultural liaison. I've been granted permission to help you adjust. Aya crossed her arms. Adjust to being kidnapped and forced into an alien marriage? No thanks. Dr. Chen's expression remained neutral. The Zenithian bonding process is not exactly marriage as we understand it. It's more complex. The Queen has broken numerous traditions by choosing you, an unvetted candidate. I'm here to help you understand why. Why don't you start by telling me what happened to my crew? Aya demanded. They're safe, Dr. Chen assured her. Being treated as honored guests while diplomatic channels are established with Earth Command. I've been here 3 years studying Zenithian culture. Your situation is unprecedented. Chime echoed through the room. The Queen requests your presence in the royal gardens, announced a voice from hidden speakers. Dr. Chen looked surprised. A private audience? That's extremely unusual. The gardens were unlike anything Aya had ever seen. Bioluminescent flora pulsed with gentle light, while floating water spheres drifted between massive crystal formations. Queen Nylari stood alone beside a pool of shimmering liquid, her purple skin almost glowing in the soft light. Leave us, she commanded the guards, who hesitated before withdrawing to a distance. You wanted to see me, Your Majesty? Aya kept her tone deliberately formal. I wish to speak without the court watching. Nylari's voice was softer than during the ceremony. You believe I chose you on a whim or to establish dominance over your people. This is incorrect. Then why? Aya challenged. Out of all the beings in the galaxy, why force this bond on me? Nylari touched one of the floating water spheres, sending ripples across its surface. I have visions sometimes of possible futures for generations. Zenithian rulers have chosen consorts to strengthen bloodlines and forge alliances. But I saw you standing beside me against a coming darkness. You weren't chosen by tradition. Aya Nakamura. You were chosen by necessity. I don't believe in destiny, Aya replied. Neither do I. Nylari's silver eyes met hers. I believe in choice. But sometimes the necessary choice feels like fate. She paused. I will not force the bond. Our traditions demand your consent freely given. You have time to decide. Later, walking with Dr. Chen through the palace corridors, Aya noticed the sidelong glances from Zenithian nobles. They're not happy about me, are they? Thravik has been particularly vocal, Dr. Chen whispered. He believes the Queen is betraying centuries of tradition. For many, these rituals are sacred. They passed an ornate doorway, where a tall Zenithian male with elaborate facial markings was speaking intensely with several council members. The conversation halted abruptly when they noticed, Aya, that's Thravik. Dr. Chen murmured. Before you arrived, many believed he would be chosen as the Queen's consort. He's from an ancient lineage. So I've stolen his position? Aya asked, in his eyes, yes, though the selection is always the Queen's prerogative. That night, Aya was startled awake by a soft noise. Near the balcony stood a shadowy figure. She reached for a decorative crystal as a weapon. Be still, came Queen Nylari's voice. I wish to show you something. Without the knowledge of the court. The Queen led her through hidden passages until they reached a chamber filled with ancient technology and swirling holographic displays. This is the Hall of Visions, our ancestral records. For centuries, we've foreseen a coming threat, a darkness spreading through the galaxy. Aya watched as star systems blinked out one by one in the display. What is this? Something consuming worlds. Nylari's expression was grim. My ancestors saw fragments. I see more. We need new strength in our bloodline, the human capacity for adaptation, for innovation. In my vision, you stood beside me as this darkness approached, not as subject to Queen, but as equal to equal. That is why I chose you. Why tell me this now? Aya asked. Because tomorrow Thravik will make his move against me. Nylari's silver eyes reflected the starlight. He believes I've lost my mind choosing you. I wanted you to understand what's truly at stake. As they returned through the secret passage, Aya realized the Queen had never once mentioned forcing her to stay a choice, not a command. Perhaps there was more to this alien ruler than imperial arrogance. Hearts across stars, duck, Aya shouted, pulling Queen Nylari down behind a crystalline column as energy weapons discharged overhead. The royal gardens, peaceful just days ago, had become a battlefield. We need to reach the sanctuary chamber. Nylari's voice remained steady despite the chaos. There are defenses there that will protect us. Dr. Chen appeared from a side corridor. Breathing heavily, the coalition forces have taken the East Wing. They're saying the Queen has been mentally compromised by the human. The Council is divided. Threvek's timing is impeccable. Nylari's silver eyes narrowed. The celestial alignment begins tomorrow when my powers are at their weakest. They moved through the palace using servant passages, avoiding the main corridors where fighting continued between loyal guards and coalition forces. Aya found herself admiring the Queen's calm under pressure, so different from the aloof ruler she'd first encountered. "How did you know about the attack?" Dr. Chen asked as they slipped through a maintenance shaft. "She warned me." Nylari glanced at Aya. "Even without completing the bond, we've begun to form a connection. I sensed her dreams last night. They contained fragments of today's events." Aya frowned. "I dreamt of crystals shattering and silver blood, but I thought it was just stress. The preliminary bond is forming naturally," Nylari explained. "Unusual without the ritual, fascinating." They reached a massive door embedded with pulsing symbols. The sanctuary requires royal blood to open. Nylari pressed her palm against the center panel, her purple skin glowing briefly. The massive doors slid apart. Inside was a breathtaking chamber with a domed ceiling displaying the stars in real time. A raised platform held an ancient device surrounded by floating crystals. "The Celestial Nexus," Dr. Chen whispered reverently. "I've only read about it." "It amplifies and focuses our psychic abilities," Nylari explained. "During the alignment, it would normally strengthen the bond between ruler and consort, but without completing the ritual." A thunderous explosion rocked the sanctuary. Heavy footsteps approached from the corridor. "They've found us." Dr. Chen moved toward the entrance. "I'll try to slow them down." "That's suicide." Aya protested. Dr. Chen smiled sadly. "I've lived among the Zenithians long enough to know what's at stake here. The coalition can't be allowed to take control. Protection of the Queen is paramount." Before they could stop her, Dr. Chen slipped outside. Sealing the doors behind her, Aya and Nylari shared a moment of silent respect for her courage. "She believes in you," Aya said quietly. "Why?" "The same reason I chose you." Nylari approached slowly. "She sees what could be, not just what is." The Queen's hand reached out, hesitating just short of touching Aya's face. "Since you arrived, the visions have grown stronger. We are connected, whether we complete the ritual or not." Something shifted between them in that moment. The air seemed charged with possibility. Aya found herself studying the Queen's features, not alien and intimidating now, but somehow beautiful in their difference. The patterns on her purple skin pulsed gently like a heartbeat. "What would happen?" Aya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "If we did complete the bond, our minds would connect fully, our strengths would complement each other, the Zenithian psychic abilities would flow between us." Nylari's silver eyes seemed to look into her soul. "But it must be freely chosen or it becomes something dark, something that would destroy us both." Another explosion. Closer this time, shouts echoed from beyond the doors. "They're coming." Nylari turned toward the Nexus. "Even incomplete, our connection might be enough to activate the defenses." As they stepped onto the platform together, the crystals began to rotate faster. Their hands found each other almost instinctively. Aya felt a warm current passing between them. Strange yet somehow familiar. "Open your mind to me," Nylari whispered. "Just a little, trust me." Aya hesitated, then closed her eyes, imagining a door cracking open just slightly. The sensation was immediate, a gentle presence touching her consciousness. Respectful and warm, the crystals flared brilliantly. Suddenly, Aya could feel the palace around them, sense the approaching forces, feel the loyalty of those still fighting for their queen, and something else. Nylari's genuine concern, not just for her throne but for her people, for the future she had glimpsed, and surprisingly, for Aya herself. As the doors to the sanctuary began to fracture under assault, their eyes met in new understanding. What had begun as captivity was becoming something neither had expected, a connection that transcended species and circumstance. Psychic storm Threvek's forces breached the sanctuary. Doors with a thunderous crash crystalline, shards scattered across the floor as armed Zenithians poured into the sacred chamber. Aya and Queen Nylari stood side by side on the Nexus platform, their hands still joined, Surrender the human, my queen, Thravek demanded, his elaborate facial markings seeming to pulse with anger. The council has declared you unfit to rule while under foreign influence. The council has no authority to remove me. Nilari's voice carried throughout the room. Only the ancestors can withdraw their blessing. Thravek smiled coldly. Then it's fortunate I've brought this. He revealed a small vial containing swirling silver liquid. Essence of the void, rare enough to kill even one of royal blood. Slow enough for you to reconsider your choices. Before anyone could react, he loaded the vial into a projectile weapon and fired. Aya tried to push Nilari aside, but the queen moved too quickly, directly into the path of the dart. It struck her shoulder, the silver liquid immediately spreading beneath her purple skin. No, Aya caught Nilari as she stumbled. The queen's silver eyes were already clouding with pain. Take them both. Thravek ordered. The human will watch as her chosen queen fades. We'll see if she still refuses the bond when it's the only thing that might save her. They were imprisoned in the queen's private chambers. Now guarded by coalition forces, Dr. Chen appeared hours later. Her face bruised but determined. They let me treat you as a show of mercy, she explained, quickly examining Nilari, who lay semi-conscious on the bed. But it's worse than I feared. The void essence attacks psychic centers first. Royal physiology can resist longer. But without intervention, what can we do? Aya asked, unable to hide her concern. Legend says a fully formed bond could purge the poison, Dr. Chen whispered, glancing nervously at the guards outside. Two minds united can isolate and neutralize the toxin, but it requires full consent. Aya finished, the very thing they're trying to force. Dr. Chen nodded, which would corrupt the bond and destroy you both. A perfect trap? Aya looked at Nilari. The proud queen's breathing had grown shallow, the beautiful patterns on her skin fading to dull gray. Somehow, in these chaotic days, everything had changed. What had begun as captivity had become connection. The thought of losing Nilari now seemed unbearable. Is there any other way to form the bond? Aya asked without the formal ritual. Dr. Chen hesitated. Theoretically, there's an ancient account of a bond formed through crisis. Two minds reaching for each other with sufficient need and intent. She lowered her voice further. But you would need access to the nexus again to amplify the connection. Then we need a distraction. Aya began pacing. When does Thravek plan to address the people? At sunset, the celestial alignment begins, then he'll claim the throne while demonstrating the queen's weakness. Aya knelt beside Nilari, gently taking her hand. I need you to hold on, we're getting out of here. Silver eyes flickered open. I can feel you. Nilari whispered, your mind touching mine. Even without the ritual, the connection grows. Save your strength. Aya squeezed her hand. I'm making my choice not because I have to, but because I want to. Dr. Chen created their opportunity during the changing of the guards, triggering an environmental alarm in the adjacent section. With the corridor momentarily clear, they supported Nilari between them. Making their way through hidden passages, the queen directed them through fragmented whispers. The Nexus chamber was unguarded. The coalition forces concentrated at the public announcement ceremony. They placed Nilari at the center of the platform. The crystals responding weakly to her presence. I don't know what to do, Aya admitted, panic rising as Nilari's condition deteriorated. Trust yourself. Dr. Chen encouraged. The connection already exists. You just need to strengthen it. Open your mind completely. Aya took a deep breath. Taking Nilari's hands in hers, she thought of the visions they had shared, the danger they had faced together, the strange new feelings that had grown between them. This time, she didn't just crack the mental door. She threw it wide open. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Aya gasped as her consciousness expanded. She could feel Nilari's mind entwining with hers, could see the poison spreading through her system like dark tendrils, with newfound instinct. Aya focused her energy, imagining light pushing back the darkness. The crystals above them began to spin faster, glowing with increasing intensity. The patterns on Nilari's skin brightened in response. Suddenly, Aya could see not just with her eyes but with something deeper. The complex network of psychic energy that flowed through the queen, through the palace, through the entire Zenithian civilization. It's working, Dr. Chen exclaimed. The bond is forming naturally. Through their connected minds, Aya felt Nilari guiding her together. They isolated the poison, containing it within a psychic barrier. As the celestial alignment reached its peak overhead, visible through the transparent dome, a surge of energy flooded the chamber. Nilari's eyes snapped open, blazing with silver light. "Together," she whispered, her voice echoing in both the room and Aya's mind. A psychic storm erupted around them, visible as swirling light that expanded outward through the palace in that moment of perfect connection. Aya understood everything, Nilari's fears and hopes, her vision of the future, her growing feelings that incredibly mirrored Aya's own. Chosen hearts. The great assembly hall of the Zenithian palace filled with council members, nobles, and representatives from allied worlds. Thravik stood on the ceremonial platform, midway through his declaration of emergency powers when the doors burst open. Queen Nilari entered, her purple skin radiant with renewed health, the patterns flowing with vibrant energy. Aya walked beside her, their hands linked. The assembled crowd fell silent in shock. Thravik speaks of tradition while plotting assassination. Nilari's voice carried effortlessly. He speaks of protecting our ways while violating our most sacred laws. The queen lives, whispered through the crowd. Impossible. Thravik's composure cracked. The void essence was purged through the power of a true bond. Nilari's silver eyes gleamed, not forced, but freely chosen, not commanded, but offered. Through their mental link, Aya felt Nilari's calm determination. She squeezed the queen's hand in silent support. "I challenge your right to rule," Thravik declared desperately. "By ancient law, trial by combat to determine the true will of the ancestors." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Nilari's expression remained serene. "I accept." The combat arena lay beneath the palace, a circular platform suspended over a pool of the same shimmering liquid Aya had seen in the gardens. Spectators gathered on tiered balconies as Thravik and Nilari took their positions. "This is madness," Dr. Chen whispered to Aya. "Thravik is a renowned warrior. She knows what she's doing," Aya replied. Feeling Nilari's confidence through their bond, "We both do." The combat began with Thravik attacking ferociously, driving Nilari back with precise strikes of his energy staff. Each blow she blocked sent shockwaves through the arena. Aya could feel echoes of the impact through their connection. "You were never worthy to rule," Thravik snarled as they circled each other. "Too young, too idealistic, corrupted by alien influence." "You fear change," Nilari countered, deflecting another blow. "You fear the future I have seen, a future where Zenith evolves beyond ancient hatreds." As the battle continued, Aya noticed Nilari wasn't fighting to win. She was fighting to expose Thravik's treason through their bond. She understood the strategy. Wait for him to reveal himself before the entire assembly. "You poisoned our queen," Aya called out suddenly, drawing Thravik's furious attention. "Tell them where you obtained void essence, a substance forbidden for centuries." Silence. "Human," he spat, "you know nothing of our ways." "She knows everything now," Nilari replied calmly. "Our minds are joined. She has seen your dealings with the shadow merchants, your plans to enslave rather than bond." Thravik's control finally shattered. "The old ways are weak. The coming darkness will consume us unless we conquer rather than cooperate. These humans should be our servants, not our equals." The confession echoed through the stunned arena. In his rage, Thravik lunged recklessly. Nilari sidestepped, but his blade caught her arm. Drawing silver blood, Aya felt the pain as if it were her own. Through their bond, Aya sent her strength. Her determination. Nilari's movements became more fluid, more precise, augmented by Aya's quick thinking and adaptability. Together, they anticipated Thravik's every move with a final desperate attack. Thravik charged forward. Nilari dropped to one knee, redirecting his momentum. The coalition leader tumbled over the edge of the platform. Catching himself at the last moment, he hung suspended above the shimmering pool. "Help me," he pleaded. His anger replaced by fear, Nilari extended her hand. "Even now I offer mercy. Confess your conspirators, and you will live." The trial concluded with Thravik's full confession. The coalition members were identified and detained. Dr. Chen was honored for her loyalty. Appointed as the first human ambassador to the Zenithian Empire that evening, Aya stood with Nilari on the palace's highest balcony, watching the celestial alignment complete its cycle. What happens now? Aya asked, looking out at the stars. The bond is formed, the crisis is over. Now we choose again. Nylari turned to face her. The bond doesn't command what we feel, Aya. It only connects us. You are free to return to Earth if you wish. The diplomatic channels are open. Your crew awaits your decision. Aya smiled, taking both of Nylari's hands in hers. When I was first brought here, all I wanted was to escape, but now, she paused, searching for the right words. Now I find I don't want to leave. Because of the bond? Nylari asked, vulnerability showing in her silver eyes. Because of you. Aya reached up to trace the luminous patterns on Nylari's cheek. Bond or no bond, the queen I've come to know is someone worth staying for. Someone worth choosing. Nylari's smile brightened, the patterns on her skin pulsing in harmony with her emotions. Then let it be recorded that for the first time in Zenithian history, the selection was completed by mutual choice, not by tradition or command or even destiny. Just two people choosing each other across the stars, Aya whispered, as Nylari drew her close above them. The aligned planets created a pathway of light across the night sky. As their lips met, sealing a bond formed not from ancient ritual but from genuine connection, Aya thought that perhaps some choices really did feel like fate. The challenges ahead remained daunting. Diplomatic relations to establish, cultural differences to navigate, and the mysterious darkness still approaching. But for now, in this moment, one truth was certain. What had begun as captivity had become the freest choice either of them had ever made.